We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Mortgage Group. I've been teaching here at Guerin Catholic for 13 years. I've been assistant coach also for 13 years. And I think it's important in today's world that we have young people growing up with the morals and values of faith-based education.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Thompson with Integrity Mortgage Group, and I support Guerin Catholic High School because I'm good friends and business partners with assistant coach Tommy Mascari, and any chance I have to support a Christ-centered education for today's youth, I take advantage of that opportunity and support in any way I can with my time, effort, volunteering, funds, and commercials like these.
Together we soar.
Guerin Catholic Sports on IndianaSRN,
where you're always in the game.
And welcome to Aspen Creek Grill on our lacrosse coaches show. And we're live here at Aspen Creek Grill in Noblesville. If you're at home and you need somewhere to eat, come on up. We got plenty of room for you here in Noblesville. Our show is brought to you today by Morales Group, Burtner Electric, IUPUI Sports Management, Piper Logistics, Reynolds Farm Equipment, and Aspen Creek Grill. Live, I'm Keith Myers. Along with me is the man that's in charge of all of this at Aspen Creek Grill, Mike Bennett. Mike, thank you for joining us, and thanks for being on our show tonight.
Well, my pleasure. I'm glad we could do it.
Talk a little bit about the restaurant and the atmosphere and the community that you support, because Hamilton Southeastern, who is playing in this tournament, is part of your community.
Oh, sure. I'd love to. You know, picking this location and trying to build this place, we knew we had to get involved with the people around here, and we love bonding with the HSE folks, plus, you know, Fishers High School's near us. Noblesville is a big supporter for us, so it's important for us to give back to those guys, and we're always willing to donate and give things to them, and we look forward to many years of great sports and people.
And SRN came to you a couple of years ago, and then this COVID thing hit and really hurt our sponsorship, but came right back strong again this year. You've been with us during the football season, basketball season, now this lacrosse season. How has that helped you? And because I know it's helped us, how has that helped your business?
I mean, COVID put a damper on everybody's spirits, and it made it a little bit hard for everyone to kind of survive. But being able to work with you guys and partner up was being able to reach out to more people. You got our name out. You helped support us, and that partnership's been great for us. And obviously the community loves to hear about who's winning, who's losing. There's always somebody who wants to know what's going on. So
now, you didn't play lacrosse. You played another game. I think if I read right, you played soccer. And I hear
that
you
is
played
true.
Pretty well.
I did. That is very true. Yes.
Now, were you an All-American soccer player?
I was not, but you know, I've coached several teams that took themselves way up the level, and my kids were coaching them growing up, and you know, it's just a sport that's fun. It's high energy like lacrosse. Even watching hockey right now, I love watching hockey playoffs because it's just nonstop. So
and it's nice and physical. You can hit
yes,
people.
yes.
Well,
agreed.
I know you can't kick that, but we're going to give you that lacrosse ball.
Thank
you. And maybe you can throw it at some of the employees if they're not right.
Yes, and this would definitely do some damage.
If you want to take a stick, you're more than welcome to do that.
That would be more beneficial.
I think Quentin would know that pretty
Yeah,
well.
I could reach more people with that.
Let's talk a little bit about tailgating, because this weekend we have 5 big games with the 2 girls' state finals at Heritage Christian, which is just 9 minutes away from here. Hamilton Southeastern is hosting 3 boys' games. It's 6 minutes away from here. And I looked at the tailgating menu. You got smoked wings, boneless wings, powwow shrimp, my favorite, and Debbie's favorite.
Yes.
That's a hint
Yep.
for you, Mike.
Yes, Debbie.
Potato skins and fried mushrooms. If they call in advance, they can get that ready, and you can be ready before game day, right?
Yep, and we'll get it right out to them curbside. They can just roll up, and we can bring it out to their car, and they can head on out to the game.
Yep, and that number for you folks at home is 317-559-3300. Their hours are 11 to 9 on Saturday. You play at 1 o'clock, call in advance. They'll have it ready for you, and off your tailgate go.
Yep, and if you want to eat after the game, you could call us that same phone number and do call-ahead seating. Get yourself in for a reservation and have dinner after to celebrate.
And if you're us, we'll be here Sunday celebrating the big events that we've already had, and we'll enjoy a nice, I think it's cordon bleu is what Jerry eats.
Cordon bleu?
What is it?
Monte
Cristo. It's live. Cristo.
Monte Cristo, yes. Whatever. The famous sandwich is very good.
I
yes.
never eat that. So
it's like cordon bleu, kind of.
Okay, great.
Yep.
I have a steak medium rare.
That's good.
So Aspen Creek Grill is open during the day. Evening times, what's the hours?
During the week, Monday through Thursday, we open up from 3 to 10. So, and then on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 10. Sundays, 11 to 9.
Yep, and Father's Day's coming. Got a couple of specials, too.
We do. We're going to have a barbecue chicken and rib combo, which is not on our menu, so that'll be good for dads. Plus, we're giving away that Weber grill that's in the entryway. You can scan the code, win the grill. It's open to anyone, so if somebody wants an opportunity to win a brand-new grill that I had to put together and I'm not happy about, but it's here for you to win.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being part of the family.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll take a break. When we come back, Joey Lindstrom joins us. To the Aspen Creek Grill. Keith Myers joining me now, the guy that will call the play-by-play for 2 out of the 3 games. Joey Lindstrom joins us. Joey has a great resume, played football for Butler, also played a little bit of lacrosse, and I did some research, and I heard that you love to break your club and use it as a weapon. Is that true, or is that a false statement?
There may have been a time where a stick was broken. That's possible, but I never used it as a weapon.
Okay, good.
I maybe averaged a penalty per game in high school my senior year, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, well, Allie's with us tonight. Allie is ex-Butler. She will be our guest tonight. She is the head coach of Marion.
Right.
She's told me a lot of things about you. I'm going to stay away from you on Saturday.
Has she?
I'm glad I'm doing baseball.
We're going to have to ask her about all those things when our time at Butler together. Allie Stork, though, head coach of Marion University, an absolute stud when she was in college at Butler, and we're going to get to talk to her all about the girls' state championships later.
She's excited about joining our SRN team. It should be a lot of fun. But let's recap the season. SRN, for the first time, did about 4 or 5 games during the regular season, did a couple of semifinals, and the numbers that we've had have been great. But, boy, there has been some great lacrosse through the state this year.
And hence the reason why we started Lacrosse Weekly, our podcast that we were throwing out almost pretty much bi-weekly at that point. Not so much Lacrosse Weekly bi-weekly, but what was so indicative was that the skill level has risen over the time that we've been able to call these games and watch all the talent that these kids have. What's so special about it, too, is the way that they're working harder to grow the game in the state. And you could see that. I mean, we talked to these coaches on Lacrosse Weekly about the youth level and how much growth there is there, how much teaching there is from all these kids. All these kids have played together, too, in this general area, at least for a lot of the HCLC teams. They've all played together, played against each other for a long time. And we've seen so much great lacrosse, and we're about to see more this weekend.
Yeah, the interesting thing that I have found out, last year we covered some games, not as many as we did this year, but the club season, it seems like we had to pick a lot of kids up for 1A this year for the club. Club's down to maybe 14 teams, which is still good. The club invitational is Saturday at 1 o'clock. 2 great teams, but the clubs have now moved up, which means the growth of the sport has been there.
And that's part of the process. We actually asked Charlie Berry about this last night, commissioner of the IHSLA, at the Carmel and HSE game. And he says, there's always opportunity for teams to gain points and move up in a class. And that's something that we saw with the club teams. Last year was Leo and Eastside. They're still remaining in club because they're still trying to grow their teams and be able to get a lot more kids to play. And but you're right. As the skill level rises and as we see more teams enjoy the benefit of their youth programs growing, a lot of those teams that hang out in the region or in South Bend or in the Fort Wayne area are growing like crazy, and it's a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, one thing that we have this year in our coverage, and we can talk about that, is the girls. The girls have tagged on, and a lot of that is a lot of fans who had brothers that are playing for teams. One dad in particular comes to mind who says, hey, you do boys, I'm going to get you to do girls. And all of a sudden Tuesday we get a phone call and say, hey, we want you to do the girls and state finals, and that is awesome.
Life comes at you fast sometimes, and we got that opportunity, and immediately the best thing you can say is yes. Sometimes the worst thing you can say is no, right? But you got to have an opportunity to cover those games, and we're so pumped to have those.
Let's talk about the recap of the season. We've seen some teams that played very, very well.
Yep.
We saw some teams fade at the end of the year. It's a very short season at a short space, but a lot of games in that short of time. What did you see this year?
Yeah, it felt as if every team was matching the play of some of the top seeded teams that we saw in the tournament. You have your Culver, your Cathedral. You're playing last night. You have Carmel and HSE. Those top 4 teams all year were excellent, but at the same time, we didn't see a whole lot of disparity from those 4. After that, though, the 5 through 10s, the Zionsvilles, the Westfields, the Brownsburgs, Center Grove, those teams were all kind of muddled in that 5 to 10 ranking range, and we saw a lot of those teams match each other in their play. And while they did battle, those teams at the top still remain. So it gave a lot away for competition, but you can still see who's been able to capitalize on their opportunities.
The other thing that I've seen this year is the Evansville teams.
Yep.
We have an Evansville Central team playing for the girls' state title, which is very important. And you see the Evansville team. Evansville Memorial had to come up to Guerin to play in the semifinals this week. And it's just nice to see that southern pocket picking up with Castle. Castle was an outstanding team. Got a tough draw, but really some good quality down in the Pockets area.
Yeah, Castle, very tough draw. Evansville Memorial took advantage of their opportunities, and they went up to Guerin, and they played very, very hard, through 3 quarters. Guerin just seemed to turn on the gas pedal on Tuesday night. So it's one of those things where if you can grow it down there in that Louisville, Evansville area, that competition grows and your teams just get better. We saw it with Cliff Rogers as well, the coach of Evansville Memorial. He said, you know what? Lacrosse wasn't even a twinkle in their eye, a few years ago. He steps in as the lacrosse coach, having never played it. His son was super interested in it, and lo and behold, they're one of the top 4 teams in the state this year.
And if you don't know Cliff Rogers, he also played football and coached it, and I think he likes the physical side.
Yeah,
because he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah, in our phone call with him the other day, he said, immediately attracted to it because everybody loves hits.
Hit somebody with great no pads.
Right, exactly. And I carry a 6-foot pole. Why not?
Yeah. Talk a little bit about how equal the teams are and why some teams travel outside the state of Indiana to play certain games, because Indiana has not got that reputation yet to be the best, but it's getting there. But you got teams traveling to Ohio and Michigan.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that lacrosse area.
Michigan and Ohio have long been these sort of Midwest lacrosse hotbeds. You have great programs like Brother Rice, Forest Hill Central in Michigan, and then you have a Dublin or, a St. Ignatius in Ohio. And, teams like Hamilton Southeastern, Cathedral, Carmel, they want to go play those teams because they want that litmus test. They want to see how good do we need to get in order to beat these other teams who have been perennial powerhouses for a long time. So it's sort of the adage, right? The cream of the crop rises to the top. Those guys, if they can keep playing those teams at the top of the hill, I think they're going to have a lot of success the years down the road. And I think that's really the motivation why. You realize if you're a Scott Beasley from HSE, a Jack Meacham from Carmel, we might get killed in these games because these teams have been good for so long, and that's okay. At least our guys are learning, and we can learn how to beat them.
Also helps your power rankings in Indiana when you're playing someone that's 2 or 3 in the nation. To be able to see that on that resume.
And Cathedral too had a 5-3 record out of state this season. Right. That's a team.
Impressive.
Yeah, Andy Gruber has that team ready to go. Kind of all year because they have to play these tough teams, and if they don't, then who knows if they'd be ready to make a run like they have this year.
5 big games for you this week on IndianaSRN. It begins with the girls' championships at 1 and 4:30. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later today. Also, 3 games for you: the club championship at 1, the 1A championship game at 3, and then the 2A championship game at 7. All at Hamilton Southeastern. Stop by Aspen Creek Grill, get you some ribs, and head to the games. Your thoughts going in? I know we haven't had our production meeting, but a lot of notes and stuff because we do a lot of research. A couple players that you might see that might surprise you this weekend.
As far as the club invitational goes, this is a chance for us to see some real talent. Munster and South Bend Adams; those are the 2 top scoring teams in the club division. On average, South Bend Adams is averaging 10 goals a game. Munster 9. Munster got the nod against South Bend Adams earlier this season, so that ought to be a fun matchup. High prolific offense there. And as far as 1A goes, Guerin Catholic, we saw it the other night when they put the pedal down on the gas, it was over for Evansville Memorial. They have so many good players, especially on the attack. AJ Giacomowicz had 5 goals the other night in a playoff game. That's crazy. They also have Cooper Navarro. These guys all work so hard to get their teammates into good position to score. And you know what they're best at is setting screens, getting other guys open. So Guerin's going to be excellent, but they have a Titan all year. South Bend St. Joe has been awesome. Sam Margulis has his squad ready. They themselves have played some out-of-state games. A 1A school from South Bend going to play out-of-state games. They played a couple teams in Wisconsin, played a team in Michigan. It's one of those things where you feel like South Bend St. Joe, because they have that bad taste in their mouth, this is going to be a dramatic game, Keith. A 6-5 loss last year against Guerin. Now we get to see the rematch.
And I know that the fans of South Bend St. Joe has been following us on Twitter all week long, and just some corrections about what we do, and it's kind of cool to have people's response for that. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have our 3rd member of our crew coming right up. You're listening and watching Lacrosse Preview Show.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
No, really, she really did. Oh, we're back. Hey, welcome to Aspen Creek Grill. Keith Myers along with Allie and Joey. And Allie is the head coach at Marion University. You had a pretty good year of lacrosse, and first time you ever sat on a panel like this, and I know you're a little nervous. No, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm just excited for the opportunity to help grow the game of lacrosse in the state. And like you said earlier, taking advantage of these opportunities and saying yes when they come around. So I'm just happy to be here.
Talk a little bit about the growth of the sport in Indiana, because girls lacrosse has not really been a power, but here in the last 4 or 5 years, there's a lot of traction. And now as you're head coaching, you're seeing kids from Indiana making a statement around the country about lacrosse.
Absolutely. I've seen tremendous growth in the sport. When I first got here about 6 years ago, I helped start the Butler program for their first year, and it was only one of a handful of college teams in the state. Marion had started right around the same time, and it was so exciting to see so many different programs, and now having UIndy winning a national championship at the college level. As far as the high school game goes, I coached for a high school for one season, and I loved it, and at that point there were less than 20 teams in the state, and now to have 2 different classes, at that point there was only one championship. So to have a 2A and a 1A game, the opportunity to kind of broadcast those is really exciting.
We'll throw Joe in this mix, and you guys both can help me with this. The talk is that the girls' game is not as physical or not as a drama type of thing. It's almost too soft. But games I have seen that I've previewed these state championships, these girls can physically hit, and they don't put up with much. Talk a little bit about the physicality of this game now that it has been 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, the physicality has grown. The girls are no longer afraid to put a body on each other. Any of my previous players are giggling at myself now because that's my coaching slogan. But no, we know now how to play that legal contact and how to go out of state, play other teams who are going to be able to put a body on them and be able to touch one another and make it so much more of a physical game than it was before, and much more entertaining to watch on all levels.
I think about the way that you see what you mentioned about UIndy growing with their national championship, right, or Indianapolis lacrosse in general, and in the Midwest. A lot of these girls are now being drawn to the Midwest as a result. Was that indicative for you when you were coming out to Butler? You're from Maryland, where it's a hotbed for lacrosse. What influenced you to come to the Midwest and try to grow the game here?
Truly, I never thought I would actually come to the Midwest for it. I never thought I'd leave Maryland. However, I just loved what the opportunities that were here. To see it so small and to have the opportunity to be the first and starting something was really just such a huge draw. And it's been really exciting, too, to see all the other girls in the area kind of take that and run with it and love it. And you see girls of all ages now across the state being so excited about lacrosse and wearing lacrosse T-shirts, which when I first got here, nobody was. So.
And you look at starting a program like you have done with Butler, it gives you that reputation of saying, I understand how to be an underdog, because I'm sure every game that you guys played that first year at Butler, you were an underdog.
It's tough to start a program just out of the blue. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you can really relate that to your teams as a coach. I coached for many years, and it was hard for our kids to understand how to win a state championship until you win a state championship. But once you do that, it becomes almost habit forming.
Yeah, there's definitely this idea, the whole Hoosier hospitality thing. I think for the first couple years of lacrosse in the state, everybody was really nice. And then just about the same time that physicality started, it seems to be there's a chip on the shoulder with Indiana lacrosse. And everybody in the state is really loving the fact that it's growing so much, and also kind of thrives on the fact that they're a little bit underdogs. And they like to be viewed that way, and they like to compete that way.
Yeah, underdogs are really good. Hoosier hospitality is better. Really good, especially here at Aspen Creek Grill.
Yeah, they let us in.
Sorry, Michael.
Oh, they let you in, actually, yeah.
But Aspen Creek Grill has great hospitality, so don't forget to check out Aspen Creek Grill. Talk a little bit about the finals this week. Heritage Christian, just about 9 minutes from here. We've got 2 great games. It's weird that they played one state championship differently because Evansville's traveling such a long time. They'll play late today. But that first game, Garin Catholic and Carmel, should be a pretty good matchup. I know you've done some homework. You got to do a lot more, but what do you see in these 2 teams?
I'm really excited for that matchup. It's really a rematch. They played in late April this year, and Garin Catholic won the game by 1 goal. It was about 11-10, which is a very competitive game. Garin Catholic's goalie, Ruth Avila, she had an incredible game, had 14 saves in it, and really kept her team in that game. And it'll be exciting to see if she's able to pull out the same performance. And then on the flip side, too, Carmel being the defending champions, they want to reclaim that trophy again. They've had that taste of victory. They want to keep it. And they're going to, kind of want revenge after that game against Garin Catholic.
Talk about playing someone 2 or 3 times during the year. I know we have said this all the time. After you play someone 3 times, it's really hard to beat them 3 times in a row. What is the motivation for you as a coach? Okay, we beat this team 10-11 or 11-10, but here's what we did wrong. Here's what we did right. What's that motivation? I know what the motivation is for a team who's lost, but what's the motivation and what's your take? Because you do not want your kids to take responsibility and relax that we've got it.
I'm going to switch your mic real quick here.
Sure. There you go. Definitely being able to, when you've won that game, keep the crown. You know, that's what we talk about all the time. It's like if you've won it, you want to claim it, you want to keep it for yourself always. And there's always room for improvement. So I'm sure not every one of those girls will play a flawless game, and they're going to have revenge for that. So even being able to kind of keep that mentality of underdog and being able to work hard for it, even when you've come out as the victor, especially for Guerin Catholic, only a 1-goal game is really able to kind of, you know, keep them to keep fighting and try and beat them by even more.
We're going to go 2 segments because I think we're going to talk about this game still. Joey, talk a little bit about, as a player, you lost to this team. Revenge is really a word that we don't really want to talk about, but you really have that revenge type of thing if you're Carmen.
You know, and I think Allie could speak to this too because she was a player not too long ago. But you know, whenever you have lost to a team, right, there is that extra chip on your shoulder where you feel like this is the chance to. Well, there you go. This is the chance for us to take that sort of, you know, I think revenge, obviously bad word and, you know, taboo, right? But at the same time, everybody knows the drill. This is just, it's got to be, you have to have some draw and some chip on your shoulder. And I think you'd probably agree that both these teams, especially when you're playing the defending state champs, if you're Guerin Catholic, this is an opportunity to take down an absolute titan. Can you actually, now I want to pass on to you, the 1A state championship, Evansville Central taking on Heritage Christian. There's actually a Butler commit, and Dogs got a little bit of pride too in that. And Ellie Lakeham's huge player all year, 108 points. What can you say about the keys for that game?
So the Heritage Christian game versus Evansville Central, it's going to be really exciting to see an Evansville team come up and you know, fight for this. On Evansville's point, they've been playing their best lacrosse towards the end of the season. So being able to kind of see them continue this trajectory, and we'll see if they can play the best game that they've had all year and fight for that Heritage spot.
We're going to talk a little bit more when we come back with the other segment about that game, and we'll talk about the boys tournament as well. But home field advantage is definitely a plus if you're Heritage Christian, and I know that the athletic directors have really tried to pump this game of this stadium holds 700. He would like to sell of 850 seats, which means he wants standing room only. We're going to take a break, and we'll preview that and the boys coming up right after this.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Back at the Aspen Creek Grill. They're open till 9 o'clock tonight. I can smell the steaks and I can smell the ribs. And I don't know if Mrs. Myers has got the powwow shrimp yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
I thought you said you come here all the time.
We do, but
Yeah.
you know, I think she's going to wait for me to eat when we get done.
Yeah.
We are previewing the state championships lacrosse, and thank you very much for joining us. We're actually got a TV screen in the lobby, and they said that everything looks good, and my glare is not that bad, Joey. So
I was going to say the lighting in here is perfect for you. We should get you on Instagram.
Pancake 7 worked. So we already previewed the girls' game 2A game at Guerin Catholic and Carmel. We talked a little bit about Heritage Christian, Evansville Central, but do a little bit more research. I know that home court advantage we talked about, but what is the mindset for you coming in? Because Heritage Christian is a team that's, I do think only has one loss, or are they undefeated?
Heritage Christian, they have a few losses, but all of their losses have been to 2A schools. So they have dominated a lot of their games as well, and they've only had a handful of close games. So one thing, though, that really benefits well for Heritage Christian is that they have a very veteran group of girls. They have, led by Elise Latham, who has 130 points on the season. Over 30 of them are assists. It's a very unselfish team and that's looking to kind of work together. Elise, a Butler Bulldog coming in, who is very excited, as well as they're kind of relying on to Audrey Boer together. She's also going to Calvin up in Michigan. So a veteran group who knows how to work together, and they want to reclaim that title.
This game is played on turf. I think during the year, a lot of these schools play on turf. There's some that still play on grass. Is there an advantage of playing on turf than the normal grass field?
As a goalie, personally, I think so. I loved playing on turf. The bounce is very consistent. There's never a whole lot of dirt when you're playing in grass. So that's really helpful. But as far as the game goes, turf is a lot faster. When the ball hits the ground, it's flying so much quicker. Ground balls are a lot easier to pick up, but you have to have that speed. So any of these teams coming in, whoever's the fastest and most well-conditioned is probably going to be the most victorious.
And what's the difference if someone's watching the girls' game and the boys' game? Is there any difference in any rules changes that
go down the
I was going to say, do you want to get on that one, Joey?
Immediately, I mean, you think about the first thing that sticks out is the draw control versus the face-off. So the boys will have the ball on the ground, face off on the ground. The girls will stand up and have their draw in the middle where they put their sticks together. Ball goes right in the middle. They essentially flip it up. I don't think you can actually flip it down. I've never seen it happen. But
no, it has to go over the head.
Right. Okay. It has to go over the head. So that's the first thing, right? Second, immediately you have to have enough space in between you and your offensive player if you're the defender. If you're too close or if you get in the way, you have to essentially give the shooter some space, or else they'll call you for violation, and that offensive player will get a free position, they call it. So they get essentially a penalty kick, if you will, that would be in soccer. So there's more, obviously, too.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, a lot of it is about protection of the women's players.
Yep.
Since we don't wear pads, we don't wear helmets or anything like that, the majority of those calls, as far as, a lot of parents laugh about shooting space and they don't know what it is. But it's all about the protection of the girls at the end of the day. We want them to be able to play, and we want to maintain the integrity of the women's game without having to add pads.
And just be as physical as you can and get the whistle.
Yeah.
Just take the whistle. Why not? Have a stoppage.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Officials are a big key. We'll talk about the officials coming up as well.
Yeah.
In the boys, it all begins with the club championship. You talked about it. It's Munster and South Bend Adams at the 1A game, South Bend St. Joe. The Indians are on fire against Guerin Catholic, and then the championship game for the 2A Cathedral, a very good ball club, Hamilton Southeastern. Congratulations to Scott Beasley, a new daddy.
That's right.
Should be a very interesting weekend for you there, Joey, at Southeastern.
Yeah, it's going to be dramatic. We touched on it a little bit. We didn't quite get to the 2A, so maybe I'll start there and work my way down. But Hamilton Southeastern and Cathedral, that game's going to be crazy. I mean, you have two teams that have all year been floating at the top. We talked about that parity between the top four and everybody else, pretty much, right? These are the top two teams in the state. The first seed Cathedral, third seed Hamilton Southeastern. And what we saw from Hamilton Southeastern last night against a Carmel team that had them dead to rights defensively for a long period of time in the first and second quarter, they were still able to get goals in transition. But as far as their patience offensively, Carmel was giving them a lot of hell. I think if Cathedral can do that and prevent them from getting into their offense and getting into their flow, I think that's going to be trouble for HSC. On the flip side, though, I think what gives Cathedral trouble sometimes is equally that defense. Hamilton Southeastern has a senior-laden defense. All three close defenders are seniors, and they are awesome. I think total, off the top of my head, I have to check my notes, over 130 turnovers from that close defense group alone. And they also have great youth at the LSM position. It's going to be crazy.
And you talk about this, Ali, a lot of times you see these two teams in the 1A with Guerin Catholic and St. Joe. They know each other. They played during the regular season. They played last year together. That revenge factor is there, but both of these teams know each other so well. This could be a one-game score once again this season.
That's absolutely what's so exciting about this part of the season. They're no longer trying to play that game of getting to know you. They know each other, and they're ready to actually see X's and O's and be able to execute out on the field. I guarantee that's what their coaches are telling them, is all about execution. They've worked so hard for this, and kind of see those matchups and seeing which team's going to be able to rise up.
I used to have a basketball player. His name was Luke Jones, and I told Luke, I want to know what kind of flavor of gum this guy has. That's how close we wanted to play defense.
I don't know if you want that close.
No, you don't want to be that close. But you really wanted to be head-to-head.
Yeah.
And that first check might be the adrenaline that might set the case. Let's talk about the officials. Are they going to let them play physical? Because I would think that would be the key.
I think so. I think you let a lot of teams get away with some hits. Obviously, you don't want it to get too chippy. Sometimes, especially in for the guys, they can get away with bigger hits. Sometimes they'll get called for a penalty. The women can't get away with that. If you knock somebody to the ground, it's probably going to be a yellow card. But in the guys, like if you do get a penalty and you're confident in your man down unit, I think both coaches are going to say, let's get physical and see what the refs are going to do about it.
And we talk about that on the girls' game, that it's not as physical, but there's a little play there too to say, okay, take a little chuck here, a little chuck there. Three officials can't catch everything.
Right.
And not that we're advocating dirtiness play, but just that could be a tell or tell, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it will be a huge factor, not only for the men's game getting really physical, but also in the women's game. We see it a lot, especially Garin Catholic. They like to run fast, straight, and hard. So we know that they're going to go to cage, and it's going to be up on Carmel to try and stop them. And it'll be exciting to see their defensive unit come out.
Ali is smiling because she knows what she just said, which was really outstanding. You look at the crowds that will be tailgating and partying and all those things, especially both teams. Both locations will be a lot of fun to see those tents up on Saturday.
Well, not only that, but also the Aspen Creek Grill tents, which I didn't really know about until you talked to Mike about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. Well, it just, the fanfare is awesome. And Hamilton Southeastern's facility gives way for a lot of fans to come. I don't know the exact number, but it felt like the stands were filled last year. Last night at Carmel, the stands were filled. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
And if Heritage Christian can sell 850 seats, that thing will be rocking. And going up 4 flights of stairs will be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, for the press box,
Can't wait.
When we come back, we're going to do trivia with these two right after this.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you'll have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Craving comfort fresh food made from scratch daily? Check out Aspen Creek Grill. Located across from Hamilton Town Center and beside the Holiday Inn, we offer family farm-raised premium Black Agnes steaks hand-cut daily, creamy pastas, salmon chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Start with our famous powwow shrimp appetizer and don't miss our refreshing drinks. Family-friendly or a great night out with friends. Aspen Creek Grill. Aspen Creek Grill, Noblesville. Call 317-559-3300.
Welcome back to the Aspen Creek Grill. Keith Myers along with Joey Lindstrom and Ali Stork. And now it's time for our trivia question. We pulled a guy from the audience, Aspen Creek Grill. First of all, what have you had? Have you had anything to eat yet?
No, I have not yet, but hopefully food's there by the time I get back. So.
I thought you were paying for his meal if you came and did this, Keith.
I am?
Yeah, that's what you said, right?
It'd be on the expense account.
Yeah, all right.
All right, here's the questions. You got 6 questions.
Okay.
All you need to answer is 4 correct, and you get a gift card to Aspen Creek Grill for $20. These guys can help you, so if you say help, you can either pick Ali or Joey. Okay. But you can only pick them twice during the 6 questions.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. You ready?
Yes.
Which country has lacrosse as its national summer sport? Is it A, China, B, Australia, or C, Canada?
I might have to use one of my lifelines here.
Okay.
Does anyone want to volunteer?
We'll make you pick.
Oh, okay.
It's your choice.
I'll pick Ali for this one.
All right.
I'm going to say that it is Canada.
A, Canada. That's correct. A, it's
Good
C.
choice.
C.
I was going to say
But A.
See, it's Canada.
Either way, it's Canada, right?
Okay.
Thanks for the help.
A.
There you got 1. All right, number 2. Which of these terms are not required for the 2003-2004 season in girls lacrosse? Mouth guard, pants or shorts, or eye goggles?
So I can't pick Ali again, correct?
No, you cannot.
Oh my goodness. Let's say mouth guard.
No. Ali, do you know?
It's eye goggles.
Eye goggles is correct. You're not doing
You said they weren't allowed?
They didn't have to be worn.
Wow.
New modification.
New modification.
A lot of black eyes.
Yeah, a lot of black eyes. Allie probably gave some guys some black eyes. Question number 3. Where is the protection equipment not normally used on a player? A, head, B, shins, C, chest.
Which game is this one?
Where is protection?
Men's or women's is
Men's or women's, sorry.
Both.
Oh. Can you repeat those again? I'm sorry.
A, head, B, shins, C, chest.
Let's say shins.
That's correct.
Okay.
Very
Someone
good.
read my
Good
questions.
job, Dakota.
Our
Yeah.
executive producer read my questions. Number 4, boys lacrosse. When a face-off, where is the ball? Official's hand, visiting team, or on the ground?
This one is on the ground.
That's correct.
Ding, ding.
There you go. Number 5, which of the following is not a personal foul? Pushing, tripping, or slashing?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That is a tough one.
I'm gonna say slashing.
No, pushing. Now you need this one. You ready? Who won more national championship men's lacrosse championship? A, Notre Dame, B, Cornell, or C, Syracuse?
Well, I guess I'll use my other lifeline, Joey, here on this one. If you
This
find
is
another
tough.
Answer. Yeah.
This is tough.
Is it?
Cornell just competed in what would have been their second if they had won.
Yes.
What was the first option again?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Now it's Syracuse.
It is Syracuse.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say Gary Gate, the GOAT.
18
You're the
national
Gate stick.
championships. Wow. And they never invited me to do one of them.
Yeah,
Here's your
How dare
gift
they.
card.
Well,
Congratulations.
thank you so much.
can use that.
Thanks
and we
for the
wanna
help, you
thank
two.
Mike Bennett. And are you going to be watching lacrosse this weekend?
Yes, I will.
Where are you from?
I'm actually from about 40 minutes south of Indianapolis, but so.
Well, okay.
They didn't have lacrosse where he's from.
No.
Let's say that.
Where I'm from.
I know you played football. Correct?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Is that your favorite sport?
Yes, it is.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, a lot more for you.
Entrepreneurs are often the hardest working, most beloved, and inspirational people on the planet. People who lead with heart and are fueled by passion. People like Randy, who found time while running his restaurants to put 3 adopted kids through college. Like Rebecca, who switched careers as an architect to achieve her dream of opening a music venue. And Mia, who turned an after-school hobby into an online floral empire. Entrepreneurs put the time in, lead by example, spark ideas, and impact communities, all while shaping the financial future of their families. Nearly 1 million entrepreneurs trust Heartland to provide the technology to make money, move money, manage employees, and engage customers. Because we're entrepreneurs, we're people, and we get it.
Back to Aspen Creek Grill. Again, 5 games for you on tap on IndianaSRN. If you include baseball, which we'll talk a little bit about that, 1 game on baseball on our internet radio station. It is the 1A regional live down at Moorestown. It's Indianapolis Lutheran and Traders Point. But 5 lacrosse games. They all start at 1 o'clock at Heritage Christian with the girls' championship at 1 and 4:30, and then the boys at 1:47. 1:47.
Yep.
So
Easy enough.
check our Twitter out, and if you want to follow us on Twitter or you want to tweet us right now, we'll give you a shout out. We got our executive producer looking at his phone and telling us that we have Grandma watching and Mama watching.
I do. I have to wave to my mother. Hello.
I gotta wave to my mom too. Hey,
That's
Mom.
college education for you.
Yeah. And Dad.
I wave to my mom before every game without anybody knowing it. Whenever they announce me as the coach, I always give her a wave. So.
And IndianaSRN wants to do some lacrosse games in Marion, so we'll put a little bit of pressure on for you.
Perfect.
These girls and these guys, they're next level. They want to play college. Let's talk a little bit about the college games. The difference is got to be a lot of difference because now you're not home, you're not with mom, you're not with dad. That aspect, what are you looking for to a freshman, or if you're recruiting an athlete, what are you looking for in those athletes?
Well, first thing is, so many of these athletes, I was coming to the games regardless of broadcasting or not to look at them for recruiting. And really, the first thing that you look for is academic education, always. And that's what every coach across the country should be pushing. So for the athletes looking right now, you have to figure out your academics first and what you really want. But when it comes then to being able to play a high-level sport, athleticism is a huge piece of it, and mental toughness. So being able to, our team talks about it all the time, of working that mental toughness as a muscle, and not just something that is innate to us, but making sure that we're always kind of able to work really, really hard on the field, in the classroom, whatever it's going to be, and getting those girls who are willing, or boys who are willing to work as hard as they want to be able to.
I'm curious, Allie, when you're recruiting a kid, how do you know that she has the mental toughness? Like, because you're getting her film, you're getting her best plays, right? Like, this is, like, we both got recruited, and we understand, like, you want to put your best foot forward, but at the same time, like, you'd like to show that mental toughness too. How do you like siphon out and determine that player has that before you recruit them?
Well, first things first, we do a lot of talking between coaches. So all the coaches across the circuit, we're all very close, and we know one another. So making sure that you have that relationship as a collegiate coach with the high school coaches.
Sure.
But then also being able to, when we're having those recruiting conversations, asking the hard questions. What are they struggling with right now? What are they not good at? I want to hear those answers, and if they're able to give me honest answers and then ask for help on things, that's a girl that I'm looking at and really considering.
And Joey, team aspect is, most of these kids are the superstars of their teams. You got to go back and you have to really reroute and recruit you, because there's not an I in team. It's a team, and it's got an M-E on it, very easily. But you got to be really close of not being selfish, so to speak.
Oh, sure. I think that's everybody's sort of humbling moment when they go play for a college, and it's because they came from being the best player on their respective team to now you're with 100 of their best players if you're playing football, or you're with 30 of the best players from their high school, if you're playing lacrosse. It's one of those things where it does humble you, but then you wake up and you say, I got to work harder. I got to go get in the weight room. I got to get stronger, get in the cafeteria and eat more, and study film and do extra drills. It's all those little things that end up adding up to help. Then you start to realize this is about the team, not me anymore. And
what I really like is what you saying, going into the cafeteria to eat more. I could probably do that as long as they have popcorn and nachos. I'm in.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Keith had a cellar, it wouldn't be like a wine cellar or whatever with all these fancy drinks. It would be a concession cellar.
Yes, exactly. Hot dog, popcorn, nachos, whatever. Yeah. I'm a little disappointed at Garen Catholic the other day. Didn't have popcorn. I had popcorn watching last night, though. I did.
You did, yeah.
Let's talk about the national championships.
Oh, yeah.
Women's had North Carolina and Boston College. Boston College probably was the favorite. Didn't win that. North Carolina came up and won that. Talk a little bit about that style of lacrosse.
That style of lacrosse is what is so fun and truly the reason that the sport is growing so much right now. It was the first time the national championship was ever on ESPN, so huge opportunity for broadcasting in women's lacrosse. And then also it was a rematch, and Boston College and North Carolina played each other twice previously in the season. They also, Boston College was the defending national champion. UNC was ranked higher. They both have two absolute standout athletes on their team, Charlotte North at Boston College and Jamie Ortega at UNC. They're both Tewaaraton finalists. And then my personal favorite is Taylor Moreno in goal for UNC. Having that high level of competition, seeing how fast those girls are, as well as their immaculate stick skills. We'll talk about Charlotte North all the time, but she uses her stick as if it's a second limb for her. It's not an instrument, it is a part of her body. Yeah. And it's beautiful to see that growth in the game.
Anytime she's in a free position, she just winds up and just lets it shoot, lets it rip. You don't see that very often. You see a lot of passing off of free positions or what have you. Never do you see someone just wind up and shoot it, I don't know, at 90 miles an hour, it looks like.
I'm telling you, I'm very glad that I am not a goalie any longer now that she's playing. That's for sure. I see that wind up and I'm afraid.
I saw the stat, 425,000 viewers of the national championship.
That's incredible.
And it was at Homewood Field at Johns Hopkins over in Maryland, homeland. And it was, the stadium was packed. Yeah. But what I noticed about, and I love that, but what I noticed about the men's game is that they always try to put men's games into football stadiums. And it looks...
It draws them.
Yeah, it almost hurts, right? Like, you would rather have like the women's game is doing it right. They're putting everybody in Homewood Field where it's super intimate. Like there's a rope around the field where you need to be like right up ahead, or you need to be. Sorry, I almost fell in my chair. You need to be tall enough to see over everybody.
Yeah.
And you know, if the men's game took a lesson from the women's game and said, hey, let's put this at a UAlbany type stadium or some smaller school, and I think that would do a lot for them.
Let's talk about the men's game. We watched the men's game, which I thought was very interesting. You know, you come down, Cornell fall down really a lot, but came back kind of scared. Maryland, and Maryland wins the national championship.
Most historic season of all time for the men's Division I lacrosse. And what was so cool about it was the way that Maryland had everyone. They had all the expectations in the world. I think they were preseason favorites to win the national championship. They could have just laid an egg if they chose to, but they stuck to the grind. And there was so much emotion after the game. You look at Twitter and you scroll through and you see all these videos of all the players going and hugging their parents in the stands. You can tell that it meant a lot to them. Cornell almost came back, by the way, and it felt like that momentum swing was like, oh, Maryland, you better hunker down and get ready for this battle, and they did. And you have the number 1 overall pick for the PLL, Logan Wisnowskis, taking over, and it's just awesome to see a team like that capitalize on their undefeated season.
And these guys that are playing this weekend, they're high school kids. Their goal is to go to that next level of college. But ultimately, by the time they get out of school, professional lacrosse could be way across the nation. Talk a little bit about the transition that the lacrosse upper beams, if you will, the professionals are looking at that to support that.
So the Premier Lacrosse League started 4 years ago. This is their fourth season, and it's a tour-based model. So each team is a club essentially. Every week they travel to a different destination and play all 8 teams play in a sort of a round-robin style, and that is indicative of how their marketing strategy changed over professional lacrosse and how they wanted to address, hey, how can we get more viewership? How can we sell more tickets? No longer is it city-based. Let's bring lacrosse to the people. And they're doing a lot more outreach with some communities that haven't had lacrosse before and haven't even been exposed to it. A stick is very foreign to a lot of these kids.
Right.
And so Paul Rabel, who is long considered one of the best lacrosse players in the world, he just retired, and now he's on this mission to put a goal in every community park across the nation, and I think that's pretty cool.
And you look at the atmosphere around. Now there are junior high teams in Indianapolis.
Yep.
There are the IPS is making that available for some of the public schools. Talk a little bit about the growth of that sport with junior high level lacrosse. They play a little bit different game, but the club, as we talked about before, a lot of our coaches that we have talked to, you got to catch those guys early because when I was growing up, it's just you played Little League baseball.
Yep.
And you beamed you bring your next door neighbor in a helmet, and then you have an ice skating coat with them.
Yep.
Now you're playing lacrosse. The expense is one of the things that is hurting the game a little bit, but I see where there's a lot of help with that as well because people realize that they need to put a stick in someone's hand.
And I think Allie could probably speak to this because she's from Maryland. They probably have middle school programs, but growing up in Illinois, we didn't have that. That was pretty much unheard of, having a middle school lacrosse team, no less. There's a lot of high schools that had feeder teams or what have you, but that was all Park District or travel. And so I think when a lot of these coaches, especially for the private schools, they can recruit out of district of their public school and say, hey, like I know this kid's on my travel team, or I see that eventually we have the chance for a middle school team. Why not try to attract a kid to do that as well?
And Allie, your program has taken the initiative to go out to these club teams to say, here's who we are, this is what we're doing, and a lot of your kids, especially your leadership, has got those young kids thinking about playing the game of lacrosse instead of playing soccer or volleyball during the summer.
Absolutely, yeah. We are. Every time that I get to go coach with the club lacrosse team that I work for, Indy United, we have now a very young group of girls. I was coaching with some 2028 grad classes the other day, which is really cool to see these young girls being able to pick up a stick so early. And to speak to the point, too, of bringing it to more underserved communities, talking about IPS, I wanted to shout out the Urban Lacrosse League has done a lot of remarkable work in the area. They helped create the Southport program alongside Rachel France, who's just a dedicated advocate for the sport, and a team that is going to be able to make some noise here soon. But it's just been great to be able to see so many teams and people join together to help see this growth of the game. And really that Paul Rabel has been such somebody pushing the sport so fast and so quickly to grow. I can't wait for there to be a goal in every park.
And it just seems like to me that on the guy side and the girl side, but especially the girl side, it's a sport that can't hold you down. I mean, if you're successful, you can be really, really good, and you can name what you want to do, not only in the high school ranks, but also in the college ranks. And that's one advantage that the girls has, because the sport is fairly new, that you can make a statement right away.
And one thing, too, not to cut you off, Athletes Unlimited, the professional organization for women's lacrosse, has grown quite a bit, too, at least as far as their media coverage. You know, they're not on any major television networks yet, but what they are doing really well is streaming, and it's created that space for women's lacrosse to go professional.
Well, and they have such an interesting concept as well, where they change teams every day or every week. So they're playing with different athletes every single day. Charlotte North was the #1 draft pick for them, which was really exciting.
Big surprise.
Shocker. But it is cool to see that kind of the format where the players are coaching. It is all young women led. There is nobody else in the game, and that's what I think has been so invaluable when it comes to the women's game, is that it is young women taking the opportunity. These girls, and as they're young, they can see the road ahead, and it doesn't have to be paved by other people who have been in the sport for so long.
Right.
There are openings for them very early.
We've got 30 seconds before this segment is over, but we'll talk about you as a young coach. Tell people how old you are and how you got this coaching job, because I have socks older than you in my drawer. Talk about the opportunities of young women to coach this sport.
It's massive, the opportunities that are there. It's why I came to the Midwest, and it's why I stayed in the Midwest in Indiana. So
24, correct?
27. 27, close. I'm 27. I was the assistant coach at Marion for 2 years out of college, and then I became the head coach right away. So I just wrapped up my second season at Marion University. I absolutely love it. Go Knights, and I'm passionate about them.
You don't even have to call me coach anymore. You can just call me Grandpa, because so does your grandpa. We'll
That's
take
not
a
true.
break. When we come back, we'll wrap everything up and tell you what's going on. The 5 big games right here on IndianaSRN. We'll be right back after this.
Craving comfort fresh food made from scratch daily? Check out Aspen Creek Grill. Located across from Hamilton Town Center and beside the Holiday Inn, we offer family farm-raised premium Black Agnes steaks hand-cut daily, creamy pastas, salmon chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Start with our famous powwow shrimp appetizer, and don't miss our refreshing drinks. Family-friendly or a great night out with friends. Aspen Creek Grill. Aspen Creek Grill, Noblesville. Call 317-559-3300.
Back at Aspen Creek Grill as we wrap things up. Allie, let's talk about the girls' state championship games again, starting at 1:30 at Heritage Christian.
1:30, it's going to be the 2A game first. It's going to be Garin Catholic versus Carmel. It'll be very exciting, 2 high-powered offenses that are also going against some very strong defenses and one really good goalie.
And then at 4:30, the 1A game, the game that really the Heritage Christian folks are waiting for, because they could finish out a Cinderella season, so to speak.
Yes, they absolutely could. Facing off against Evansville Central, it's going to be a really great game and a great way to send some of those seniors home for Heritage Christian, or for those seniors there at Evansville Central as well.
You're going to be working with our crew for the first time. I know Greg is going to be your producer. I know Troy has already talked to you, and I tell you what, you got a great guy in the seat to drive that home, and folks, you're going to have a really good time. And Troy's working double duty because he's got to work for Joey on Saturday night. But talk a little bit about your matchups.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Troy, the hardest working man in IndianaSRN, he claims.
And if you if you have a St. Bernard, he can help you walk the dog.
Yeah. I just learned that today. He's a great St. Bernard walker.
Yeah.
The club championship starting at 1 p.m. at Hamilton Southeastern, Munster, and South Bend Adams. 2 teams averaging over 10 goals per game.
That's incredible.
And especially at the club level too, because a lot of those teams kind of start from nothing, right? Or you have just a couple kids who learn how to play. So the skill level we're going to see on display is going to be great. We had a great club championship last year, and that game down all the way to the wire. Eastside out of nowhere played like 5 games during the regular season and ended up beating Leo. But Munster and South Bend Adams is going to be an awesome one. In the 1A, you got Guerin Catholic and South Bend St. Joe, a rematch of last season.
Loser goes home.
Yeah, loser goes home. 6-5 was the final last year for Guerin Catholic, and that game was tight the entire way. Charlie Berry's squad is going to be ready. Sam Margulis' squad is going to be ready. They're looking for that sweet revenge. And then finally, 2A, Cathedral, Hamilton Southeastern. And I think, as anticipated as Carmel and HSE was last night, I think Cathedral and HSE is going to be even more anticipated. I think that's going to get a lot of attention because those two teams, because they're playing so many out-of-state teams, they're starting to get that recognition of, hey, these are 2 of the best teams in the Midwest. Let's go watch that game on IndianaSRN. It's going to be high-powered offensively. There's going to be some awesome defense. There's probably going to be a lot of yard sale checks, a lot of great hits. I can't wait for all 3 of those games, and it's going to be a blast.
IndianaSRN is your sports leader in Central Indiana, and we really take a privilege to not only do lacrosse and all the other sports, but we need you as well. If you would like to see more kids on web TV, you can contact us at coach@IndianaSRN. We want to thank the Grill that have been, Aspen Creek Grill, they have been great hosts for us. We'll do this again next year. This should be a lot of fun, and maybe you look at some football shows coming down the way. But Allie, we appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm excited for any opportunity.
Absolutely did a great job.
Thank you very much. Hopefully even better on Saturday.
And Joey, thanks so much. We want to thank our executive producer, Jerry Collins, our producer, Greg Smith, who's done a nice job. Sticks on the camera. You know, Sticks never fails us.
Shout out Sticks.
Sticks is the best.
Consistency.
And Troy, we're going to have a steak in your, you missed this, but we'll make sure you
He gets one and I don't, and Allie doesn't either?
Well, they'll get steaks, but he's going to pay.
All right.
So join us on Saturday. Goodbye, everybody.